I need to figure out what to say during this beautiful but musicless animation. Maybe to pick an Umberto Eco quote. Those are popular on Facebook these days.
Are they?
Gosh, I'm such a boomer. I don't know, man. Good day to you, Colorado. Good evening, Europe. What the hell are you doing up this late, Australia and China? Welcome to the show in which two Serbians talk about the Nuggets for an extensive period of time every week. Welcome to the Serbian Corner. My name is Miroslav a hardware engineer by day, a Nuggets diehard during the evenings, and truth be told, a big sleeper during the nights until the playoffs. And I'm currently an intermittent faster. Is that the word?
What does that
faster?
mean? What is that?
It's like I'm eating for 6 hours and then I'm fasting for 18 hours. So I'm a faster, I guess. I'm calling from Pančevo, Serbia, and I'm joined as always by Voja Medic, calling from Nebraska, which is a birthplace of Kool-Aid, a place with lighthouses without the ocean, and a place where the largest mammoth fossil was dug at. What up, Voja?
What up? It's also home of birthplace of Marlon Brando. Let's go there.
Oh, that's cooler, actually.
I'm going with the movies. I think Henry Fonda as well. So let's go. Two of the greats. How you guys doing? This is great. Winter started, I guess, for real this time. It's negative degrees. Like heating's on. Finally, I've saved some power bills this last couple of months, but now it's heating up or cooling down. Deuce, how are you doing, man?
I'm doing good. I would say fall has started in Austin. It dipped below 80 degrees finally. I'm ecstatic because I can wear beanies again. I'm very much a beanie guy. So I'm just happy to be here, guys. Thank you for having me on.
In case there's anybody that doesn't know who Deuce is, he is the only winner of the steps ever. Like it was like 2.5 years ago. Something like that. I was in the show.
Was that the cooler run?
Yeah, the refrigerator. Yes. Yeah. The Brecken Brew refrigerator.
It's the bubble championship.
That's right. So I was supposed to help him like a helper from the side, and he didn't need any help. He just slammed through that show. So that was super impressive. Your name is Connor Ducey. D-Line calls you Child Uzi, but among friends you're just Deuce. So what up?
Not much. I mean, first line on my resume, steps winner, and not even a joke. I did call my dad immediately after because I knew he would be proud of me. So I did call him and let him know. But it was a little bit of a bubble championship. I think the DNVR guys mercifully made the questions a little easier, and I hit it right at the sweet spot. So, and actually the cooler, I hate to say, is still in Denver with my parents, but my girlfriend and I just bought a house and they're driving it down soon. So
nice.
Soon I will be able to enjoy a Miller Lite or a Breck Brew out of the cooler.
Excellent. Excellent. Okay, this is episode number 34 of the Serbian Corner with the recently established segments whose names will show you how a Serbian that has never been to Colorado, and that would be me, views the rectangle state on the Rocky Mountains. You can also expect some Nuggets and general NBA trivia games and much, much more. Before we start, I need to ask Deuce, how much do you still follow Will Barton in Washington? And does it surprise you he's playing the least minutes per game since he left Portland, for example, back in 2015?
It does not surprise me. I unfortunately haven't had the free time to watch too much NBA. So I'm not sure the Wizards are an amazing appointment viewing, but I wish I could.
I assure you they are not.
Whenever I see him on Instagram post a highlight, I make sure to retweet it. That's what I'll say.
Nice. I do watch occasionally Wizards, especially like the last one against the Mavericks, because Monte's over there. Man, it's not. I defended Will and everything. I watched that game and I was like, I do not miss this, not a little bit. His like ball handling and stuff, okay, but man, there's some of that's like his patented shots and stuff he takes. I'm like, I don't know, man. It's a little bit refreshing not seeing it every day.
You'll take
Wizards.
KCP,
Wizards
right?
suck anyway. Just, I mean, he's not the problem there at all. Like, he's one of the solutions.
His body gave out. I mean, that's kind of, I think, in my opinion, what it came down to. But yeah, it does not surprise me we haven't seen the Will Barton renaissance. I'll say that.
Yeah.
Okay, that's tough. That's
Monte's
tough.
a starter though. I'm happy.
But is he doing well?
He's fine.
As
I
a
mean,
starter?
he's what he could have been. Like I think Adam asked me once. I think I was one of the first guests on slots on DMR when I was on, and we're talking about Monte's contract. He was like, "Oh, do you think you could be a starter somewhere?" And I think I said like some teams like Phoenix. Because I don't know if that CP yet, or it was like some things like that. So this is like a team that he has less. He's averaging less points and maybe assists are similar, but like less points and assists than last year when he was starting with the Nuggets. But because there's it's not a same type of, it's not like a 2-man game type of thing. Like they're spreading it around more differently, but he's like the floor general style there too. So he's not overshooting it, but like there's games he has 6 shots, there's games that then he scores like 19 points. So he's doing Monte things like this, the regular stuff.
Nice.
Which kind of sucks to see because I'm like, I saw the floater today. He did the thing of like weaving in and out, and then he took that floater in the middle of the paint and that just shed one tear just like down my cheek. I missed that.
I might have a solution for you, but let's wait for that for
Oh
a couple
my
of
God.
minutes. Okay, first off, mile high positivity. It is a segment about what we were the most high or optimistic about last week. And to everybody's relief, I'm stopping with the getting high joke to start this segment.
Okay.
It's never easy to start positive after a big loss, but I want to go to the highs before we get to the lows. And I've picked one positive thing for this week, and I'm sure you'll have some positives to pick too. But my one, first of all, let's take a look at the starting 5. Before the season, we were hopeful that the Nuggets core 4 will shape themselves into their best form, the one we remember from just before the Jamal's knee injury. We also thought that KCP would be a good fit, being a good on-ball defender and a reliable shooter. But if you would have told me that KCP would have a higher true shooting percentage than Nikola Jokic after 12 games, I would have guessed Nikola is having a horrific start to the season. But actually, Nikola is at insane 67.5% true shooting, which, by the way, how is that possible? He's missing everything lately. I have no idea how is that possible.
Well, everything in his terms are like 2-3 shots a game.
That's right. But
Kenny
P is at 68.2%. By the way, I wrote this number down before last night's game.
Probably
And
higher,
after
right?
last night's game, no, it's actually stayed absolutely the same.
Oh.
So he actually had a very average performance last night. KCP did, and 68%. He's like 56% on threes. He's made like 9 threes out of 14 this week.
Insane.
What? Okay, but that's shooting. Let's talk about the synergy of the Nuggets system and Kenny being a smart player with extremely
calling him
compatible
Kenny,
skills.
really?
I'm calling him Kenny
like
this
it.
time. I'm calling him Kenny. What is interesting, he's just 8th among Nuggets rotation players in points per 36 minutes. He is also second to last in usage among the rotation guys, only above Christian Brown. And, Christian Brown is not really a rotation player yet. Before you guys give me your KCP impressions so far, grade me these 3 things about him. Which is more rare, his skill set, his basketball IQ, or his willingness to play the right way? Whoever wants to start.
Come on, Deuce, go for it if you have.
I would say IQ, I think. Just because I think his immediate transition into getting to the right spots and finding the right shots in the Nuggets offense is very impressive. So that's my first reaction on the ranking of the 3.
What do you say?
I would probably agree. Let me see if like the other ones. The skill set isn't obviously it's not. That's like the least.
I think it's not rare at all. I think there are like
exactly. That's what I mean. Like
40
it's just,
players in the NBA
yeah,
with similar skill set.
I mean, it's probably the IQ because that kind of goes with because he's intelligent, then he can also accept the role because they kind of go in hand, I think. So I would say IQ too. Like I like the usage thing is unsurprising, and I think it also goes hand in hand with the efficiency, because if he was getting more of these like different role shots, like usage shots from the dribble, and like making him create and do everything himself, that would probably drop. So like he's basically just maximizing his whatever what he knows to do best. Like it's kind of maximized. So that's pretty cool to see.
The reason I asked this is because I actually think it's that willingness that's really rare, because I think that there are much more high IQ NBA players than we give them credit for. And it's just that willingness that's stopping them from being really, really good flow players and really being smart enough to be in a perfect role for the team and for them as well, but mostly for the team. So this is what really impresses me. We are talking about him for the first segment of this show, and he is like not taking a lot of shots at all. He's not, pushing the tempo. They have like 136 offensive rating if he is finishing the play, if he's shooting either a free throw or a field goal. That's insanity. It's because all of those shots are really, really good. And of course, he did make some really impressive shots, especially last night. Those like 3 consecutive threes, that was badass.
Yep. The thing, so what you said with not a lot of guys are willing. The thing is, like, we want to forget the business side of NBA.
Sure,
and it's hard to like, and that's the thing, is that they're unsure when they get to a team, like if they're going to get the opportunity. With Denver, it's well known, and when he gets here, he realizes like, okay, there's going to be, don't worry about it. Like you'll get the shots. Like this is not, you're not going to just sit in the corner and wait, grow roots until you get the ball. So I think that's the positive of the culture of Denver, just because it's you have that constant, like that's Bruce Brown. Every one of these guys that are coming in, like it wasn't hard for MPJ now this season to say like, okay, I'll do what you guys tell me, and I'll still get 17, 18 a game, because there's room for everyone, because Jokic and Murray are like that. So that's why I think it's like that's the tricky part of the willingness. Is sometimes like you have to like just take the shots because that's your livelihood.
Deuce, how do you feel about KCP as an upgrade to your favorite player, Will Barton?
I think, I mean, his athleticism, he's really durable. I felt leaving, with Will, it just became a reliability and a consistency thing, which I felt like baseline at that position, we just needed like athleticism, effort on both ends, and like play a role. And so I think KCP far exceeds that. The really fun thing about him is Jokic hasn't gotten to play with a lot of guys that just have a quick release three. Like even Gary, who is the same type of player KCP is, like he had a kind of slower release, whereas KCP, you hit him in the corner, like it's going up. And he's not quite a movement shooter like a Joe Harris, but like it's not super far away from that. So it's really fun to see a shooter like KCP with the Nuggets. Obviously, he'll probably regress a little bit, but like he's a good shooter. He's like a good to great shooter. So I mean, I think when you're talking positivity, where we are at with the last week, the first thing I thought was KCP, because he's been great. And the other thing I'll say too is like he was a top 10 pick. There was a point with the Pistons where there was kind of a like, is he a guy? And so he's a role player that's totally bought into his role, but like he's a talented dude. Like he has scored a lot of points in the NBA. He's scored a lot of points in college. So it's like seeing him create a little bit, like he might have a little bit more creation than maybe he's given credit for.
So
I agree. I'm so excited about him with the Nuggets. I mean, it's just 10 out of 10 for me, 9 out of 10, like such a great fit.
Yeah, you played Georgia. You played Georgia highlights for someone, like you would be shocked, like how much he was handling the ball and was not what he's doing in the Nuggets. Like this, he seems like he's like what you said, Joe Harris and Seth Curry, one of these guys who run around and shoot and play defense. Like he was actually like with the ball in his hands a lot more, and now it's bought in, and that's why I think like it's a luxury, because then he wants to do this, basic thing and like, fundamental rudimentary thing. And then, okay, now if we need to, like we saw in Indiana and Boston, I can take over for a little bit, like not count on him to do 48 minutes, but just a little bit to like get us over the hump to like get back to Jokic or get back to Murray. So that's like really, you said, really good luxury.
Yeah, and I think we can thank Washington as well, because they gave him a chance to do too much last season, and so he worked on his confidence. Confidence. So now he feels much better.
Then he also lowered his stock too. Now his like stock is rising when they saw like, oh yeah, he can be this guy again, next to Jokic. So like Dallas would probably want him now, like stuff like that. So.
Yeah, I don't know what Dallas is doing, to be honest, but yeah, it's like we have the greatest player in the world. Let's bury him under so much usage. Okay, Voja, what's your positivity for the week?
The fact that Jokic didn't get a single technical, I'm still shocked. Like I was reading the list of like all the technicals, and like KCP has 2, I think, from the first couple of weeks, the weird one. And I was like, okay, so Jokic didn't get one. I'm like, if he didn't get one against Pacers and yesterday against the Celtics, like we might be over the hump in that area. Maybe he's still like getting back to the groove from the Eurobasket, unless he's not fully in it to even care to get a technical, maybe. But how he responded against the Pacers, and he had the OKC game, like he had the FU mode in him, playing wise, but not in like looking at the refs or like commenting on him or like pointing. I was really impressed. Like so again, like I posted a clip with just first possession of the game, Grant Williams like fouled him blatantly, and it was just like let go as a physical game, and he didn't. Then it was just he had fouls that were called on him, and he just didn't react. And I was like, okay, are we out of the woods? Like, do we not have to worry about him like throwing a tantrum, quote unquote tantrum when like the refs are against him? Because like, is he resigned that they suck, and so they'll never change them by yelling at them? I don't know.
What do you think about that?
It's a really good point that I hadn't really thought, and I would say he's maybe been like a little moody, and so for him to like, maybe not be as fully engaged, but like to not go at the refs makes it almost more impressive, because there's a couple games where I'm like, we're in ejection zone, where it's like I see his attitude, like I see where he's at emotionally and see what's going on. I'm kind of like, we might be getting a early locker room visit. So I think it's a good point that although he's, I think, shown frustration at times with various things, it hasn't resulted in him going at the refs or like, doing the blatant hack foul in, after the ball is going the other way. So
I saw like, beat reporters and against the Pacers game, there are a lot of them from their end, and just like neutral ones like, oh, this might be smelling like Jokic ejection in the third if they keep up with this like ticky-tack stuff. And then he came out and scored a game winner or something. Like that's like, for me, like it looks like decent maturity improvement, or just resigned that like you can't change him. So just basically like he's in that mode. Remember we had modes of like when he blows his top, and then there's like games where he goes, I'm not going to say anything, I'm just going to murder people like on the court. So hopefully he's always like in that like I'm going to just play mode, like not always past that like I'm going to yell at the refs. So hopefully that's the case now.
Yeah.
That's not jinxing, knock on wood. Like,
I swear I'm not playing the devil's advocate, but I think he should have a bit of edge towards the refs based on the last 2 games. I mean, it might be anecdotal, it might be just complete recency bias. He had pretty bad whistle for the last 2 games. Before that, I don't remember, to be honest, that he had bad whistles before that.
Well,
so
it's shitty teams.
Yeah, that's true. But
or at least like not centers, I guess, that they were given, that they would consider like good defenders to let them get away with stuff, I guess.
Yeah, if you have 2 games out of 12 with bad whistle, is that too much? I don't know. Might be too much.
I mean, one quick note, like the thing that pissed me off the most in the Pacers game is I feel like it's a vet ref move when there's a couple players in the mix and the guy in foul trouble may have fouled him. It's just I feel like it's just a vet move to give it to the other guy and just be like, hey, fair play.
Yeah,
I'm
Gordon
going to
did
give
it.
Aaron Gordon the foul instead of Jokic. Just like an old head type of vibe. And it's not only were they quick to give Jokic soft fouls, but it's also like, just give it to Gordon, dude. Just give it to MPJ. I was like, come on.
Especially because the Bulls also foul on both of them.
Yeah, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's annoying. I said like that's why it's my positivity, because I would have exploded. Like, yes, especially like yesterday when that's that. And I was like, the funny thing is, like, I was the Grant Williams in a lot of situations when I was playing back home. I would play against centers that are 6, 6, 7, 8. Like, it was we were like a couple of years older guys. I was thinking it was a 6'9" guy, and it was one of those, like, I had to like badger him to the point where he just gave up and went to the 3-point line. But it was probably me fouling him a lot more, doing the Grant Williams thing of just like leaning and like get away from me. And the ref wasn't going to call it because I was just a kid, like trying my best, like to like against this like giant next to me. So I was in that position, but I would hate it to be like the reverse of just like, come on, like stop hitting me, like, and you call it because this is affecting the game. Like, so I would have, in his situation yesterday, especially, I would have blown my lid again when you said it, especially in the ticky-tack situations of like in Marcus Smart flopping and all that stuff. Just, I don't know. So yeah, great job by him not getting technicals saved. So, maybe he's thinking also he has got bills to pay with the daughter now.
Yeah, you're right.
Doesn't want to spend a few
Those are
grand
too
on
expensive for him. You're right.
College tuition on the horizon.
Yeah, you got to think about that.
When your kid is getting older, the diapers become more expensive, so you have to calculate that as well. So yeah,
and the reality is probably safer, of course.
Deuce, what was your high note for this week?
I hope this isn't boring, but just to zoom out, I think I kind of came into the season after the preseason with maybe a little tempered expectation, like, hey, we don't know how Murray's going to look. I don't know how MPJ is going to look. I know the bench is going to probably be bad. We have a ton of new pieces. Like, let me adjust my championship aspirations. And so I think with where the Nuggets are at right now, 8-4, which is a 54-55 win pace, 4-4 on the road, which is solid, and tough start to the year, 8 on the road out of 12. 4-0 at home, and we really wanted to see them perform better at home this year than they did last year. I think we have to be, I'm very happy with the record and the fact, specifically the Indiana and the at San Antonio game. Like, those are two games that are easy to lose, honestly. And so to pull those out, pretty gutty wins, I'm really happy about. So I just think high level, I think you have to feel pretty good about the Nuggets, even though we know that they can be a lot better and there's some concerning things that we've seen. Very happy that they're winning games and that they're off to a great start record-wise, on pace to essentially be a 50-plus win team. And I think we all hope at some point they, put a run together and maybe look like a championship-type team and push them toward closer to 60 wins. So I think great start to the season. Very high level.
I like your point about them being away a lot this season. This is why I call this show "Hit the Road, Jack," because they've been traveling this whole week, and
so 13 of 20 of the first 13 out of 20 games, like something like that, is on the road or something. I think that was the number.
It's.
You said 8 out of 12. Like, it's probably in the next stretch, right? Because they go home. Go the Bulls. They go home with the Knicks, and then they're on the road again for like 3 or 4.
Yeah.
It's insane. Like, yeah.
They will not have 2 consecutive home games until December, which is insanity. Something like that. Something like that. It's really annoying. But what you gonna do? It's worse for them than for us. So what you gonna do? We have to go.
Yeah, for us, the East Coast is not that, like, East Coast road trips aren't that bad. Like, I had to finish the game yesterday like 8:00, 8:30. Like, a nice evening. It wasn't like a midnight by the time it was done. So at least like that viewing is better. But I agree. Just like, I was tempered a little bit too at the beginning of the season, and Indiana got you on San Antonio. Like, one of those they would have lost last year for sure. Like, just
And we
But I
always
think that
lose in
was the
San
reality.
Antonio. We always
and that too, exactly. And this was yesterday. Even like I came out more like I don't think that was a realistic score overall. I don't think it was. They were not dominating the entire game. Like that stretch, even like even in the second quarter when they kind of were like climbing back, there was some like stabilization after Brown like just still was torching. And then the third quarter when they came back down to 2, it was a lot of like good lessons, but not bleak. Like not like, oh, we're so far away, we're not even close. Like they're so talented that like they were with so many deficiencies in their game yesterday, they were still there to like fight. Like Bones wasn't playing. Like Bruce Brown had to like jack up like 14 shots. They came back. Like MPJ was kind of lost. Like I mean, there's a lot of like factors that can be that's on a given day. Like it's changed, and so I think that's a good positivity. Like I'm with you. Like this wasn't like a bad week for the Nuggets in my opinion.
I'm just bummed that Bones is out again. It's already three games out.
That's why I was. I mean,
12.
again, that's why I was afraid when they traded Monte. I was like, that's why I was still like, everyone was, oh, who cares? Like
They
whatever.
are
like, yeah,
3 point guards down now. They don't have Colin. They don't have Isha. They don't have Bones. What's
so gets
this?
you, and then you trade. Also, Barton leaves, and he was the ball handler a lot. So
That's right.
we wanted 3D guys. We got
Colin Gillespie would be all over Twitter right now if he was healthy. He'd be out there.
Oh yes, I know, man. I had a preseason. Well, not even preseason. It was before he got hurt. I said he's gonna be in significant minutes by the end of the season, and then he got hurt, and I was like,
that was a tough one.
That was a tough one because he's a Villanova guy. That would have worked like for Denver.
You are not forgotten, Colin. We think of you, and Nuggets think of you as well. He is still on the 2-way contract. Meeting a mountain lion at the front porch. This is our second segment. It is a segment where we speak about what scared us or made us the most pessimistic about. Before we get into the specifics of what was bad this week, let's first list all of the Nuggets wins from this season. And I've made a little presentation for that just to help us be on the same page. So these are the 8 wins by Nuggets this season. For some reason, number 8 is not highlighted. I don't know why. It's just the number 8. Everything else is. So what do we see here as a really quality win out of these 8? The only real blowout was versus San Antonio at home when they were on the second night of the back-to-back and climbing on the hill. So that was a win by 25. They had the good win against Jazz by 16. The 10-3 Jazz. What?
I've got
Danny Ainge doesn't think. I will keep repeating it until they do.
But guys, look at this. Jazz are the only team with a winning record right now that Nuggets have won against.
That's crazy.
All the other teams are under 500 or really bad. Well, actually, they're all, except for the Lakers. The Lakers are really bad.
They're the only bad ones I maintain right now.
Yeah, but the Golden State, we thought it was a great win against the Golden State, and it was.
I still think it is. I think it is. Like they're not. Their second unit's bad and all, but like they're still we're doing. They're still Golden State at the beginning of the season, and they're like fresh and everything. That some of the issues weren't. I don't think they were like expressed as much in that game yet.
I've got that as the best win personally.
Yeah.
Golden State.
Prime time, start of the season. That was a highly competitive game.
Yeah. Are we ranking them or like?
Let's see what would be the second. We agree on the Golden State, by the way. Is that the win against Utah, right?
I'd say Utah by 16 too, like because they've given 10 wins. Like it's not insignificant, and they beat like Memphis twice. Memphis is really good, and they beat him, and I would say that's the second one.
Okay,
they're playing great. Utah's playing great
because it also wasn't close. Like it was just pretty in control the whole game, right?
It makes the first loss look a lot better too when we were all freaking out on that one.
Yeah, that's true.
After that, I would move straight to the away win against San Antonio because, first of all, it's never easy to win on the road. Second of all, never easy to win in San Antonio, and especially never easy to win against Greg Popovich 2 times in a row. However, San Antonio is not super trying to win games, but
That's true. Well, so OKC was both at home.
One was on the road.
yeah, one was on the road.
I'd say one of those
there.
like is also like OKC also is not like they're giving some good teams issues. I think they beat Clippers twice. That should have been like much better. I mean, obviously that game against Milwaukee wasn't. It was an insane game. Like Giannis wasn't playing, but that was still like double overtime with like all the other guys, and basically like Javion Carter was playing Giannis like with the number of points and stuff.
I had
Yeah,
I
that was
had
a good
at
one.
OKC number 3 as well, just because they also owned us last year.
Yeah, that too.
And SGA is maybe he's incredible.
Okay, I'm getting in the comments that OKC is bad. That I'm
not that bad. Not that bad. We'll see. They might become bad, but not now.
Yeah, I got at OKC and then at San Antonio. So I was like, I thought both those were 2 quality wins.
Yeah.
Well, in the ranking, the one from the ones we have, yeah.
Yeah, and then when you look at the other ones, like versus the Lakers, versus the OKC at home.
Can't believe one of those wins is against the Nuggets for the Lakers.
Yeah,
they won sucks. 2 in a row. That was the funny part. Like I remember like Lonnie Walker killed us, then he like got the second game too, and he also was playing well. Westbrook off the bench, they all got high and then just start losing again. It's so fun. I'm so excited.
Okay. This was a fun experimental segment. Now we will take a short break and then we'll return. And we are back. And boy, we are back with a completely new segment called Foul Take. So the NBA is fighting against take foul. FIBA is fighting against take foul. Everybody who has been watching the Eurobasket knows how many stupid take foul calls were there. You were actually not allowed to foul in last minute of the game because every time the other team will get to free throws and a possession. But this is different. This is foul take. I've asked our audience to give us a take that most people will think it's foul, and we'll try to discuss it even if we feel it is disgusting. Okay, so first foul take comes from Jesse Hartman, who said, Denver needs to start pushing the pace more on offense in order to mitigate their poor half-court defense. What do we think about these guys? Who wants to start?
I think their transition defense needs to be better. I have felt that the Nuggets need to play faster for years. I respect that they don't because their half-court offense is so good that I understand that they're going to create efficient offense without utilizing transition. But I think we have the personnel to be great in transition, and I would just like to see us use it a little bit more. My concern about getting into that too much is our transition defense has been bad.
Yep. That's why I wasn't sure about what he means. How do you mitigate if you push the pace more? Because then the other team will push the pace on you too. Like, okay, like again, I'm going back to OKC. Like, they're fascinating to me. They have their thing that what you're saying like Nuggets should do too. They push the pace even when they concede a basket. And so many times they have this like basically transition points that probably don't count as transition because they conceded the basket, then you just go. And so many times they catch the guys off guard and like mismatches. That game against the Lakers, when Jokic was just pushing, basically he was running past AD to set up the offense. That was what kind of like that mix of like it's not fully like just run and gun, but that's the faster pace like we could work with and just force the mismatches even before the whole thing is set up. Like Bones, I mentioned last week with my positivity, the Bones at home could be like a home field advantage that he and Brown push the pace on second unit and don't let that second unit basically get like stale on in half court offense and push that in, like make people tired. So it would be interesting. I mean, I would want to also, like, Jokic's outlet passes are spectacular. We have athletes now that can finish probably like with contact better than they've shown because there's not many opportunities. So like I think that would be a good one. I don't know how that mitigates half court defense, but because if the other team gets to run on you, like, but either way, I wanted to play faster anyway.
I agree. And Nuggets are really pushing the tempo as much as they can. As you said, you have those Jokic long passes that can start up the fast break, even if you concede the basket. Thing is, Nuggets are right now 14th in the NBA in the number of fast break opportunities, and they are number 1 in their point per possession in fast breaks, which is awesome. Which is a testament of the kind of athletes they actually have right now. So basically, I think they're already doing most of the stuff they can. Could they do something more? Maybe with Bones, maybe with second unit trying to push the tempo with Bones. Maybe a bit. I also agree with the part about the poor half court defense. I don't think it has a lot to do with the fast break offense. Next one, the homie Patrick Rasmussen. His foul take. Momentum is king. Defensive rating is most greatly impacted by having a potent offense, which causes an opponent focus and energy expenditure to skew towards their own defense. Thus, harping on defense is less effective than messaging about focus and playing with urgency.
That's a good one. So basically, offense is the best defense here, is the take, right?
Yeah, but it's beautifully written. You have to say.
No, I know. That's just like to summarize.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I'm not mad at it. I feel like, especially with how the Nuggets are built, we have to have a little bit of that mindset where our offense is going to be our most valuable asset. I do think, and his last sentence, I mean, I think the defense, Nuggets individually are never going to have the most talent defensively, but would like to see some more energy and physicality and toughness on that end.
What about you, Miroslav?
I think it's a good strategy for the regular season. I think you can get away in a lot of games playing like high calorie offense, and especially when you're playing at home, when you have a team traveling to Denver, they should use that advantage and run the other teams off the court by playing high calorie offense. I don't think this is the way Malone wants to do it, and that's important. So, but that is definitely not a super viable option for the playoffs, I think.
You know what's the best defense? Defense. So, I think I mean, he said it well, like focus. Like yesterday, it was MPJ wanders a little bit. Like you lose focus, you lose connection, then you scramble trying to catch up with like a few steps behind, and all of a sudden you get a open dunk or open 3-pointer. It's focus, it's communication, which like I think that's one of the biggest deficiencies with the Nuggets is defensive communication. And I don't know how they fix that because I don't know how Gordon is out there, especially because he also like shuffles in and out a lot. If they had more of a traditional, like, okay, like we're going to have Mobley next to Jokic and or Green or Draymond, and it's okay, he's going to always have the same position and guard these guys and talk in the back, like that can work. Like Jokic isn't a talker, unfortunately, and it is tough with English, switching back and forth, Serbian English and some terms and stuff. Obviously, like it's his job, so he should learn all the terminologies and things. It's just sometimes like people aren't yellers and like shouters. So, but it would be really cool like if Jokic can get that, because he calls out, like we've seen him in like Serbian national team just put people in defensive positions. Like, hey, you just stand there. It's going to happen there. I read this play. Like the fact that he has such a good brain to read, to read the court. Like I think with him, like yelling at guys and like distributing them around the defensive end, can I think even increase like not defensive lineups like to a better level. So that's the focus in communication. I just think that's where they should start. Because Deuce, you said it, like individually they might not ever be like that, that potent, but like overall, I think they could be decent.
Yeah, what you gonna do? One last thing before we move to even goofier segments is I want to ask you about Michael Porter this week, because he seems to be falling off a bit. I mean, it was very, very obvious against Boston and their great defense. They've put him into positions he didn't really like. I have a personal story, and I will laugh because I did this like a couple of weeks ago with Jamal, because I understand Jamal's getting back into shape because I'm doing that well on my pickup basketball. Now, I have a very similar problem as Michael Porter at my pickup basketball, because sometimes I get caught on the offensive possession and nobody's giving me the ball. And it's not because these guys don't like me, because they know me all their lives. It's because I'm not doing anything on offense. This is why I'm not getting the ball. So I'm just hovering around the 3-point line and expecting. It's not that serious, but we spoke a lot about Michael Porter being really better this season in a lot of different aspects of offensive basketball at all, even some improvements on defense. But the thing is, we always say he's so talented that we can live with the fact that his shooting can make up for so many different deficiencies. And what happens when his shot stops, like versus Boston, is you don't get a lot from him. Is it just that, or do you think there's something more? Did he look super healthy to you last night, for instance?
I think you made a great point, because I think a lot of people will often say Malone needs to get MPJ involved more, and I think people are hesitant to like put that on the player a lot of times. But to me, I mean, I think with the second unit, we are seeing MPJ's creation weakness, where it's like at the end of the day, he can't create for himself in a half court setting. And that's a huge weakness. I mean, that's as far as him being an all-star caliber player, you're like, that's just not a reality. Right now, he's a force multiplier shooter, which is obviously the most important. It's the most important skill set you can have in the NBA. So that's why it's kind of hard to evaluate him. But I mean, I think we're seeing his creation weakness. And then as far as health goes, I mean, I would say, I've always felt his rebounding was a little overrated, to be honest. And I haven't necessarily seen him making a huge impact on the boards or kind of going to the rim at all. So I would say there's a little concern. I think as long as he's playing with Jokic and healthy and shooting, he's going to be an asset for the Nuggets. But I would say second unit, it's going to be interesting, because I think the Celtics game kind of just put on display his weaknesses. That's not going to be every night. But I do think like that's clarity as to where he's at as a creator.
Yeah, that's the force multiplier is a great term, and we saw yesterday with Bones not in the lineup, and I think another against the Lakers as well was kind of a similar situation in that second unit when Bones or some secondary, because Murray's not there yet too. Like so basically when I say second unit and Bones isn't playing, like even if Murray's playing in that unit, it's a little bit tougher because he's not. I mean, he is getting assists and stuff, but is not there yet to like control the whole unit by himself and then set up MPJ, set up everyone. So yesterday we saw Bones against Lakers as well. So MPJ, you see that like stuff that he doesn't have in him, and I don't know health. I don't know. As far as rebounds, I really don't even want him to rebound defensively. I mean, yes, if he's like there and box out and stuff, but I'd rather want him to box out, eliminate his player, from getting an offensive rebound, and then let Gordon or Jokic rebound, and then he can just leak out and get those transition shots. Because if he catches the ball, then someone has to go back and get it from him, and then just you can slow down the offense. And offensively, I would want him to have offensive rebounds. Like that's probably where his rebounding can be most impactful. And as far as health, I don't know. He might have been just bummed out that he got stolen with a bunch of crap that he had, like a bunch of personal stuff that he had in the hotel room. Like, I mean, it is like they're still humans. Like I'm trying to like put myself in his position. Like, yes, they're professionals. They have to play basketball and stuff. Like, how do you not like get bummed out when like all your personal things get stolen from a hotel room, and then you're supposed to like just like fly out and play another game and like not think about it? And yes, like you try to compartmentalize, but it's again, there's some 9 months of the year. Like, do we all just forget about everything when we go to work and work like to 100% when something crappy happens at home? Like, so that's why I'm like I'll go even there. Like, just that he also was probably bummed out on top of everything else and playing the Celtics again. Like his worst game of his life is probably against the Celtics like a couple of years ago.
Yeah, it's not an accident.
They torture him. I mean, it's not accident. Yeah.
I like the take that his rebounding might be a bit overstated, because there is a pretty obvious small ball lineup with Gordon and Porter at 4 and 5, and we've never seen that.
Oh, I don't want to see it, honestly. I want to, like, if that's a Jeff and Gordon is my choice there.
You've had
a great to be a 3 there.
You've had a great Aaron Gordon rebounding game, and if you add a great rebounder like MPJ to that, it doesn't feel right. But we've never seen it. Maybe who knows?
I think that's a lot of responsibility on defense. That's
sure.
For at least for me, like my opinion is like that 4 is one of the more important positions in basketball, and if you have him with Gordon, then it's kind of, I don't know, it's a little bit tricky there. Like, so I like Jeff to see him, and you talked about creating his own shot and like that experience. I saw a comment that basically said this 3 out of 5 years he hasn't played, and it's just playing time. Like, there's a move that Jeff Green made against Tatum, like to draw his 4th foul, like that the move that MPJ just couldn't do at this point, and like because you needed to notice the angles, the timing, get the ball, finishing contact, dribble, like all that stuff that just comes with experience. And just right now he's not there, so I really want to avoid putting him in any positions there where he's completely out of it. Like, yes, he's our gentle giraffe, so we gotta like take care of him, because when he's on, like, he can go 7 of 7 for 3 and score like 20 plus in a quarter, and we're good, and basically get those are like, and then you just keep playing and destroy a team. So I think it's like a kind of complicated relationship with him in our squad.
Yeah, I mean, I 100% like he needs minutes, and so it's like no disrespect to him, like he needs the minutes both, and he's coming off injury, so obviously he's essentially a very young player still as far as game experience goes. So obviously, giving him the grace of that is understood, but when I'm talking about him, just kind of evaluating what I see as a player like right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Before we completely diverge into madness, Deuce, you said you had a foul take. Yeah, foul take you want to share with us.
Well, we kind of touched on it, and I was scared to say it, but I mean, it was a little narrative based, and I think pretty much
Tatum is better than Jokic. Is that one?
God no. It was pretty much just like people talk about MPJ like he is an all NBA or all-star talent, and I disagree.
He's not yet. No.
I think he's a super role player, and so that's it. But that role is everything in the NBA, and I think he is in literally the best place he could succeed. So I think
you're in a safe place here. All the comments saying we should trade him, so we're good. I've had like people from home like mention me on Twitter, at me on Twitter, and be like, we should trade him for Herbert Jones. Like, that's how far like some of the guys have gotten. So
but I wanted to trade him for Haliburton like 15 months ago, before the injury. So what you gonna do?
I'm an optimist, and so I am hoping that this core gets to where it needs to be. That was my foul take.
Good one. Again, you're
Okay.
safe with that one here. Let's go madness.
Let's now move into madness zone. Miroslav's conundrum in Comic Sans. Okay, stop me when I list a former Nugget you would like to see on this season's roster for the upcoming playoffs. So let's say right at the trade deadline, this person gets bought out for some reason, and Nuggets can just pick him up for minimum just to add him to the roster, to the existing roster. Okay, so let's start with some less serious names. Tyler Lydon. Now, I like
Where
Tyler.
is he? Where is
He is my Facebook friend, so I really like him. The only reason why he's number one on this list is because he's no longer an active player. He's now a coach. He has a basketball camp, and this is why I don't think the Nuggets should sign him at the trade deadline. Let's move to number 2. Option number 2, Emmanuel Mudiay. Should we move on or
just move on? We'll tell you the stuff.
No comment.
What are we?
Okay. Okay. It's getting warmer though. Number 3, Keita Bates Diop.
We got enough defensive wings. I don't want him.
No comment from me.
Not even at the end of it. Okay. No problem.
No, we
no
got
problem.
it. I got Vladko. It's fine. Let's go.
Trey Lyles.
Have you guys watched the Kings recently?
I know you are.
Is he playing okay?
Oh, he balled out the other day. He had like 13 points or something like that in like first half. He made a buzzer beater. It was all over the place. I gotta find it. It was like 6. I think overall it might have over 15 points in that game.
I have a Trey Lyles take. Even his last season in Denver, where he was like objectively bad and shooting under 30% from 3. He's a basketball player that can do things like catch the ball, dribble the ball, shoot the ball, pass the ball. And like, that's helpful for our bench unit that's been so unable to play basketball for 2 years. So I did have a take where I was like, last year, or maybe it was the year before, I was like, this team is missing Trey Lyles. Yes, I know he can't shoot, but there's value in just being a skilled basketball player.
It was the Cavs games from Wednesday. There was that 127-120 Sacramento win, and he flipped that game. Like Cavs were getting them, and I think it was in the third. It was a buzzer beater in the third, I think. He had 4-7 for 3, 5-9 from the field, 16 points, 1 assist, 1 rebound. But like that period when he was playing, it just looked like holy cow, like he's balling out. I was so because I was like, I mean, I kind of liked him. It was obviously not the fact to trade Donovan Mitchell for him, but like he looked decent with Jokic. I mean, he knew basketball. I don't know what devolved, but like it's not bad now. Like he's not unplayable for the Kings.
I think the main reason why nobody liked him in Denver is because he didn't play well next to Jokic. He made Jokic have like a negative net rating or something.
Wasn't that Torrey Craig?
Like no, it was Trey Lyles as well. Yeah. He's one of like 3 guys ever on the Nuggets not to have a positive net rating.
In my head, there's those like passes the Jokic has behind the back that Trey like floats up. Like that's why I'm. But for the bench, man, like he just makes it like ironically, like he's like more stable in that, like just to shooting, catch and shoot, and like just some of these moves that you said, like he can make stuff happen. So like if we're going like we're gonna substitute whatever, like someone at the bench and just have him for free, like I'd take him.
Would you take him over Jeff?
Oh hell no.
No.
Yeah, so then that's why I would say no. I'm gonna still pass on Trey.
I mean. It comes to would you cut Vlatko to make plays for Trey Lyles?
Oh, you can't do you can't do that to me. Like his Vlatko's a difference.
I know.
I wouldn't cut Vlatko for anyone. So it's
chemistry too important.
Okay, we have a couple of more names, but I'm really happy how Trey Lyles went.
Yeah,
because
let's go.
It's so early.
I was so excited.
Number 5
against Cleveland. It was so fun.
Noah Vonleh.
Oh
no, thank you.
Oh yes,
he's playing. He's still playing.
Instead of DJ, immediately.
You see.
I'm holding out for better.
He shoots threes now.
And he's a unit.
He's a unit.
Yes, you know. He started like first games like because they played Embiid. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I mean,
No, for backups immediately, I said like right away if they could just switch him, send a first round pick with DeAndre Jordan, get him out of here.
you know, I should have put Joffrey Laverne on this list, to be honest. I mean, I don't know if
Dude,
he's still active.
Okay, so who? That's the thing is like who would you take like Jordan over right now? Like that after like I was on his okay like let's give him time. He has some decent minutes and stuff. After the rebounding embarrassment, like just Celtics like high profile team just Peyton Pritchard just owning you. It should just retire, man. Like it's fine. There's a good legacy. Like everyone likes you. Like you don't, I would just be done. Like I would have just walked off. Who was that like NFL player in Buffalo that just walked off mid game and retired? Like that's what he should have done.
He's not
was
good.
really, really
He's not
bad.
good.
I mean, we feel better about our screaming tweets right after the Nuggets signed DeAndre Jordan. I mean, it's not nice to be happy when you get to be right about your team being horrible, making a horrible decision. But we'll see. Maybe he was super high. Maybe he was just super high in Boston and he'll be better next time. I wouldn't bet my money on it, but who knows? Who knows? Let's try another guy.
I'm waiting for Plumlee.
JaMychal Green.
No, just move on.
Next. Nope.
Not even for
No.
like
He can
11,
play
12?
freely in Golden State.
You're right. I forgot
usually-
about that.
I love most Nuggets, and I like JaMychal as a person, but honestly, I left the 2-year JaMychal Green experience like he's not good. Like I'm so out.
There was a reason he wasn't playing that much in Clippers, and
Okay. Number 7, Will Barton.
Absolutely. Vibes.
For free, sure.
I mean, no, I don't think Will Barton would. I mean, he's just not good anymore. So I gotta say no.
Yeah, that's fair. I'm being sentimental. No, move on.
But I
started the show saying I didn't miss like what I saw in the Wizards. So like no.
But would you replace Davon Reed with Will Barton? Like a safety blanket?
Well, he's not a playoff rotation though. But yeah, I guess.
I would.
Yeah, that's that part. Yes, then yeah, sure.
Yeah,
in theory.
And last name, Monte Morris.
Where's Plumlee on this list?
Yeah, I was just waiting. I was ready to go crazy for Mason Plumlee. That's who we need.
That's the one we want. That's the one we want back, man.
Yeah,
we forgive you. We forgive you, the Lakers.
Honestly, Plumlee would be number 9 on this list if it was that long. I wanted to end with Monte Morris because I don't want, in front of Voja, I don't want to call any other former Nugget a better player than Monte Morris. So that's the only reason I didn't put.
I think Bones is better than Monte. Voja, don't get mad at that.
No, you're fine.
But
you can
Bones and Monte together bench.
That's what I want. That's what I want. I didn't want to trade Bones.
Yeah.
To for Ish Smith. Like I just wanted to keep both of them. Like
I would love Monte back.
He's better. Like I mean he's even this year, like what he brings to the second unit is different than Monte. Monte is like that's why Monte was good with Plumlee and stuff. They had the structure when they were the second seed. Like it was it Torrey Craig was Beasley was in and out, Juancho, Mason, like just a bunch of players that know the roles and didn't know what to do. So like Monte was a good floor general. Like of course if you put Monte with like DeAndre Jordan and like
yeah,
I mean last year too we saw that. I don't want to reiterate, but yeah, I would Monte immediately instead of Ish Smith, like
big time.
Yeah.
So when we talk about Mason Plumlee, if the Nuggets would still have him instead of DeAndre Jordan, they would have like the number 1.
Oh, they wouldn't lose
now.
They wouldn't lose the game.
They wouldn't lose
no games lost. Because again, if you have all this foul trouble, he comes in like he was doing. Like it's still like it's hard to forget that 3, and it's every time I want to like say good things about Mason Plumlee, like that pops in my head, and I get sad and don't want to talk nice about him anymore. But he knew how to do like serviceable like Jokic substitute minutes. Like that's why the Nuggets were so good. Like that's why they were kept winning because Jokic was averaging like 17, 18 then. He wasn't MVP Jokic, and they were still destroying people.
I mean, it's just funny how sports work. Like, we all wanted Mason gone. Everybody was sick of Mason, but it's like, man, he would be so good for the Nuggets.
I would have kept him even after that bubble, just as long as he wasn't costing like what he got 3 years, 21. Like,
yeah, that was
24, I think. Yeah.
That was a crazy contract. That was crazy.
Freaking Detroit.
Yeah, Detroit robbed us that summer.
So yeah, a couple of comments said like they thought about like the Grant or Manimal are going to show up on the list. Like, I don't screw Jeremy Grant. Like, he hurt us. And well, this all said actually get Boogie back. Like, and that's also another one is like obvious. And people were in yesterday when DeAndre was trending because of the Pritchard thing. Like, everyone was like, why is not Boogie back? Like, it's like we don't know the insides. Like, he might not want to be back on the Nuggets. It's not that great to be Jokic's replacement. Like, everyone trashes you and wants Jokic back on the court, and you only play like 10 minutes a game, maybe.
We have this comment from Logira. I was waiting for Grant or Manimal. Yeah. And Manimal, I don't know if you saw that, but he just signed a G League contract. So he's returning to semi-pro, I guess, basketball after some time. So
nice. I got to get a look at Grand Rapids. I don't know if you guys saw some highlights because I followed their Twitter, and there was like Jack White and Peyton Watts are just dunking on people.
Yeah.
I think Jameer Nelson could still work the pick and roll with Jokic.
If it's not Monta, let's get him. I thought maybe he was going to be on the list.
I think Jameer could still get buckets with Jokic.
Yeah. I was concentrating on the guys that can still actually play professional basketball. Come on, guys. Okay, Deuce, do you have anything else you want to take off of your chest before we leave?
I just, I love your guys' perspective of the game. It's so great to have you guys on a weekly show. So was really excited to come on. So I'm appreciative, and would have been great to get that win last night, but I feel good with where the Nuggets are at. It's, it wasn't all going to come together immediately. So I think it's just going to be, some ups and downs, but a fun season.
Yeah, agreed. Appreciate it, man.
Thank you very much. I like the way the shows are now ending. You see, Voja,
I was gonna say, like, are you bringing guests just so they can say you're good? Like, what's
you have to invest, Voja, in order to get something in return. So that's the way we do it here. Okay, before we let you enjoy this Saturday, it is Saturday, right? Yeah. Okay, please consider subscribing to the DNVR Sports YouTube channel and giving a thumbs up on the YouTube video, or give a 5-star review for the DNVR Nuggets podcast on iTunes. It will help the channel grow even further. For all the true fanatics that stuck with us all the way to this sentence, thank you for being awesome, and go Nuggets.
Idemo Nuggets.